What a year for gaming 2025 has been. It was filled with massive shakeups in the industry, including the release of the Nintendo Switch 2, all of the tariffs forcing hardware prices to increase, several well-respected studios being forced to shut their door, and in the final months, it looks like Xbox may be trying to die, but we're not here to talk about any of that. Instead, we're here to celebrate the triumphs of the industry, particularly in the indie scene, which had some of the greatest games this year. Like I've done for the past 2 years, I'm going to look at the games nominated for the Game Awards Game of the Year and tell you why each of them deserves the title. So, without further ado, let's get a look at this year's games.
The nominees for Game of the Year. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 from Sandfall Interactive. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach from Kojima Productions. Donkey Kong Bananza from Nintendo. Hades 2 from Supergiant Games, Hollow Knight Silksong from Team Cherry, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 from Warhorse Studios.
A pretty good list. Every game on it has a reason to be there, but only one game can be called Game of the Year. Let's get started with one of the only games I didn't actually play. Largely because it's on the Switch 2, but that's beside the point. I've actually heard a lot about this game and everything it has to offer. Donkey Kong Bananza is a 3D platformer that's acting as a spiritual successor to 2017's Super Mario Odyssey. The main difference here, other than, the giant gorilla, is the emphasis on a destructible environment. Nearly every surface can be destroyed in one way or another, whether he's diving down into the ground, ripping it apart to throw at enemies, or just straight up punching through it. I mean, DK can take a chunk out of the ground and slide around on it like a massive snowboard. And that's all without even acknowledging the 5 animal forms you can get that give you upgraded movesets. You can't convince me that this wouldn't be a blast to play. It's like getting to mess around in one of those smash rooms where you get to destroy everything, except you don't have to leave your house or worry about the cleanup. The story isn't super important for your experience, as it puts much more emphasis on the gameplay, but it's still worth going over quickly. The game follows Donkey Kong on his search for Banandium gems, only for him to discover that the greedy Void Kong has taken them all to power a ship in search for the Banandium root. This root grants the wishes of whoever wields it. On his journey, DK rescues O.R.B, which we later learn is a teenage Pauline. Together, they continue their adventure to get the Banandium root before Void Kong can, running into familiar friends and foes along the way. All in all, this game just looks like a blast. I've especially heard that it's a great game for kids or people who don't play a lot of games because of the 2-player mode. If you are that second player, you get to control Pauline in her singing voice, and that's about it. You don't even get to move since you're riding DK's back the whole time, but I don't really think that's a problem. Like I said earlier, it's perfect for people who aren't very familiar with games, as they get an easy way to participate that isn't very intrusive. I've mostly heard of this mode being used by parents who want a way to play with their young children, and they seem to enjoy it. The parent plays the game while the kid just destroys the terrain around them with sonic blasts. And hey, if it's a way to help parents bond with their kids, that's an absolute win in my book. But it's time we talk about our next game, and it's very different because this game's greatest strength may be its story. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a game that absolutely came out of nowhere for me. The first time I saw this game was in a Steam discovery queue, and I thought it looked interesting. So I included it in a poll for my viewers in the Discord to vote on for which game I should play next, and I'm so glad they picked it. But very notably, I didn't play it alone. I streamed this game with my friend here, Aurora.
Hi, that's me.
Yep, that's her. She plays her own games and occasionally posts her art on her channel, but today we're talking about Expedition 33, so what were your thoughts?
Overall, it's a very beautiful game with really stellar writing and a great mystery. The main moral of the story doesn't really come in until the 3rd act, so for Acts 1 and 2 it's a mystery, trying to figure out this world and how it works. Plus Act 3 pulls the rug out from under you.
We should probably actually give a basic synopsis of the story for those who haven't played it yet. You play as Gustav, and you live in a version of Paris that's been blasted off into the ocean. Far in the distance sits a massive woman named the Paintress, who is writing a number on her obelisk every year. Everyone who's the age of that number or older dies on the spot. For 67 years, expeditions have been sent out to reach the Paintress and put a stop to these senseless deaths. And now it's your turn. With your friends by your side, you venture off hoping to save everyone left in your city. And to be fair, Act 2 does hint at some truths behind the world, but not really in any way that someone on their first playthrough could pick up. It's really just enough to know that something is up without telling us what.
It leads the player through a pretty good thought process of how to unravel the tangled web of this world and the underlying mystery behind it. It's the kind of game that encourages you to do everything in your first playthrough.
I absolutely agree. I couldn't put this game down until there was literally nothing else left to do, and that's largely thanks to its incredible story and the twist it brings to the traditional JRPG combat. What they did was add a dodge and parry button that allows you to be reactive to enemy attacks rather than just accepting that you will receive them. I found this to be a very welcome addition, since I typically don't like this genre of game, but that feeling of getting a perfect counter and watching the animation play out as you destroy your enemy can't be beat.
Expedition 33 likely got its parry mechanics from the Yakuza series, as well as the Super Mario RPG remake and Sea of Stars, which all use QuickTime events for their dodge systems.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that the Yakuza series had JRPG combat, if I'm being honest. I thought it had more of a GTA style of combat. Guess that shows how much I know about the space.
Yeah, I was surprised you liked Expedition 33 so much, based on how vocal you are about disliking the genre as a whole.
Yeah, the combat is typically so boring, and series like Final Fantasy and Persona have games that take so long. I just can't commit that much time to a combat system I find tedious and slow. But Expedition 33's story wasn't painfully long, and they managed to have a combat system that actually left me feeling engaged. And then we haven't even talked about the music yet. This isn't the only game this year with an incredible soundtrack, but it is the only one that was produced by a random guy they found on the internet. Talk about finding a diamond in the rough.
It's very impressive that this game was made with such a small team.
I know! A lot of them were ex-AAA devs too who left to create their own passion projects. The team was so small that one of the main characters was named after a dev's dog, Minoko. And I mean, how can you not love Minoko?
Overall, it was a very good game, a solid entry for this year's list. It certainly came out of left field. A surprise for everybody on the scene.
Ooh, are you okay? Shit, I think she's out cold.
Hey, Acer! Sorry about the window. Again, just thought I'd stop by. What's going on?
Well, I was talking about Game of the Year with Aurora.
Yeah, my bad. I was, aiming for you.
I'm sure she'll be fine. She's a goddess after all. But I guess that means we're done talking about Expedition 33.
Yeah, you are. So, what's the next game on the list?
Looks like Hades 2, actually.
Shit, I love Hades too.
I mean, like, same, but can you expand upon that just at all?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's got all the characters I love. It retains the same gameplay as Hades, which I love. It's got all the fantastic art style, and as an artist, like, chef's kiss.
That's great and all, but we're kind of here to give a bit more of a detailed analysis. You love this game in all these aspects, but why?
Is it not enough for me to talk about my canceled wife?
I don't know who that is.
Is it about A.L.I.S.? A.L.I.S. the Gossip Court, my lovely wife, the one who guns me down, the one who shoots me and kills me. As soon as I undoom her from the narrative, the wedding is back on. But enough about my beautiful wife. I love all of the characters this much. One of Supergiant's greatest strengths is writing a character, and writing that character well. They give them a trope, and then even then, they're like more than that trope. This trope allows like both a, funny, shallow understanding of the character, while also still providing plenty of room for more, like, an in-depth analysis of said character. In addition, most characters have like their own shit going on, so it makes them feel like they take up more space than they actually do.
I totally agree, and it's hard to try and talk about this without going into significant spoilers, since most of this development does happen in the later half of the game. But something I really enjoy is that you're able to connect with whichever character you relate to most first. For instance, I maxed out my relationships with Artemis and Eris before I even gave a single nectar to Nemesis.
Yeah, that was the same with me, but Odysseus. Spoiler, you do not get to fuck Odysseus. Learn that the hard way.
Speaking of spoilers, actually, what are your thoughts on the story?
It took me forever to beat Grandpa's ass.
Well, you may actually need to start by explaining who Grandpa is.
So, we play as Melanoe. She is the daughter of Hades and Persephone, making you the grandchild of the bastard of the hour, Kronos. Kronos, for those of you who don't know your mythology, is the father of Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, and the like. There was a fantastic succession battle and he was chopped up into little bits and thrown down.
To clarify, he was also the father of Hera, Demeter, and Hestia mythologically, but that was changed in the world of Hades to distance itself from all the, incest.
Yes, and thank you for that, Supergiant. Anyway, Kronos was not too happy to be chopped up like sashimi and thrown down into hell, so naturally he decides he has to kidnap Hades about it. This is where you come in. Remember, you're Hades' daughter. So, you don't like the fact that he's trying to kidnap your father, mother, brother, his polyamorous throuple, yada yada yada. You gotta put a stop to that. Death to Kronos.
I feel like I should mention that the only reason you survived is that Hades entrusted your survival to Hecate while you were a baby, so you were able to escape the attack. In turn, she raised you into the Coven of the Moon Maidens, a collection of goddesses and titanesses who work in the shadows of the crossroads. It's here that you're raised and trained with the sole purpose of getting revenge on your grandfather, Kronos, for what he's done. Naturally, like in the first game, the gods of Olympus offer you plenty of aid, and this time, there are even more of them to shower you with gifts.
I love all the returning gods. I like how, since it's a new game, all of them got new designs and upgrades to show that we're in a new era with new stakes. In addition, the game, while maintaining the same visual style, has adapted a new primary palette to adopt a whole new feel. Orange, once again, is the main color, but this time it has greens and purples, giving homage to like magic-y plants, witchy nonsense. In addition, this witchy nonsense steeps down into the gameplay. The central controls are the same, more or less. However, Melanoe is slower, more methodical, and her spells take time and preparation. Zagreus was a berserker. You throw yourself in there, abuse the dodge button. Melanoe takes a bit more planning. I know he isn't actually tankier, and that they have about the same number of hit points, but Zagreus just felt tankier.
I think the two biggest changes that show this difference in personality are the sprint differences, which you hinted at, and the different casts. As for the sprint, Zagreus gets more individual dashes and therefore more dodge windows. Meanwhile, Melanoe gets the one dash, which then transitions into a sprint with no immunity frames. As for the casts, Zagreus has a much more aggressive blood crystal mechanic where he throws projectiles at the enemies that can be upgraded to give them status effects. Melanoe, on the other hand, has a defensive tool. She places a magic circle on the ground that slows enemies who walk in it. It can be upgraded for more offensive utility as well, but it's innately designed to slow down the combat and give you more time to properly plan. I guess another key difference is that in every run, even the successful ones, Zagreus inevitably dies. Meanwhile, Melanoe is always thinking ahead and has an escape spell she plans to use at the very moment before she meets her end. This means that, even in the runs where you lose, she never actually dies.
Yeah, I know it seems that we're comparing this to the original a lot. Please know, I love both these games. I really wanted Hades to win Game of the Year in 2020, and I want Hades 2 to win Game of the Year this year. Comparing these games is not meant to take away from either of them, but instead does an act of love to build them up. I finished Hades 2 within the first week of me playing it. Since I finished Hades 2, I've actually gone back and started playing Hades again, just for the fun of it. I hold nothing but love for both of these games. I think Supergiant has knocked it out of the park both times. Death to Kronos, and also death to your other window. I got another brick, you got another window, I'll see you next year.
Wait, no. Okay. Well, that's annoying. I guess it's time to go on to the next game, which is... Ooh. Now we get to what was the most anticipated game of the year, at least after GTA 6 was delayed again. And calling it that may be underselling it. Silksong was placed on this mythical pedestal of anticipation alongside games like Half-Life 3, the previously mentioned GTA 6, and Elder Scrolls 6. What makes it even crazier is that its release date was only announced 2 weeks before the game actually came out. The entire community was basically told, hey, you're getting the game you've been waiting for in 2 weeks. Sorry we took so long. It was just so fun to make. We had to stop ourselves. Also, as an apology, it's only $20. I could gush about Team Cherry all day, but I think it's time I started talking about the game itself. You play as Hornet, an enemy/ally from the original Hollow Knight, who has been taken prisoner in a new kingdom, Farloom. She plans on making her way out to the Citadel, the religious capital of the kingdom. It's there you plan on confronting whatever evil force has taken hold of the minds of the bugs of Farloom. After the events of the first game, Hornet has decided that she will not sit back idly as a kingdom falls into ruin. Along the way, you'll run into friend and foe alike on this journey of redemption and self-discovery. Obviously, that's a short summary of the story, which this game has a lot of. Playing as a character who is capable of speech allows for a lot more dialogue and gives Hornet her own distinct characterization. In allowing her to properly interact with the world around her, it allows both her and the Kingdom of Farloom to feel more real. There's so much detail in this game's world that you can really tell why Team Cherry was having so much fun. And that's not to mention all of the small interactions placed in the game that you can witness, whether it's running into Sherma attempting to soothe the Bell Beast, or seeing the Pilgrims in Bone Bottom perform a funeral for their lost brother Pilby. May he rest in peace. But we really can't talk about Silksong unless we talk about the gameplay. In my personal opinion, this game's mechanics feel like an improvement on Hollow Knight. The general idea is still largely the same, with basic movement, a wall climb, and a dash button, but now the dash button becomes a sprint key as well, so you don't need to constantly dash and trigger sticky keys all the time. And the down attack is different as well, now attacking at a diagonal, which a lot of people hated. However, I think it pairs exceptionally well with Hornet's other attack animations and really adds to the feeling of a flow state that you can enter while you're doing really well. The basic spells from Hollow Knight are also replaced with a much more customizable tool and silk skill system. Adding on the fact that you can equip different crests to change Hornet's base attack animations and stats, Silksong is designed to let you customize Hornet in whatever way you like. You can be her base sneaky assassin with her hunter crest, using precise strikes, or you can use the heavier arcing attacks of the Reaper crest. You can even use the Wanderer crest if you prefer the gameplay from Hollow Knight. I really need to cut myself off before I go on for too long. To summarize, Silksong is the perfect sequel in my mind. It's still filled with the same environmental design and boss fights that made Hollow Knight the smash hit it came to be, now with even more time dedicated to refining their craft. It's what every sequel wishes it could be. Here we are, now out of all the games I've played. So, like with DK Bananza, I'm relying on research here. How about we start with the story behind Death Stranding 2 on the beach? This series has some complicated lore. So I'll let you know right now, this will be a quick synopsis that cuts out quite a bit. But even so, this is your spoiler warning for this game, as well as the original Death Stranding. Probably should have been giving spoiler warnings for all the other stuff, but in the editing process, hopefully I'll remember to give timestamps if you want to skip any of the story stuff. Taking place 11 months after the first game, the United Cities of America have become fully connected through the chiral network, a system of communication in this apocalyptic setting that played a large role in the first game. The delivery service that our main character, Sam Porter Bridges, once worked for has become defunct, as deliveries are now made by unmanned drones. These new technological developments have also coincided with a worsening in the apocalyptic events. Entities known as BTs have become more powerful and therefore more dangerous, and natural disasters are beginning to occur with some frequency. Even still, things could be worse for our friend Sam. He's living a secluded, retired life with his daughter Lou, the famous tube baby from the first game. But that's interrupted when Fragile comes in with a job for Sam. She started a new company named Drawbridge to replace the company Bridges from the previous game, and as expected, Drawbridge plans on furthering the mission of Bridges, this time without the shady experiments and government control. Where Bridges aimed to reconnect the United Cities of America together, Drawbridge wants to expand that connection outside of the United States border to Mexico. And Sam is the perfect person for the job, which he better do if he wants a pardon for the crimes he committed in the first game. Don't worry, while he's out connecting the former nation of Mexico with the United Cities, Fragile will take care of Lou. So, Sam does just that and connects Mexico with the United Cities. While he's down there, he finds a video from his old friend, Deadman. Here he learns that Deadman had discovered a plate gate, which is essentially a portal linking Mexico to Australia. He also learned some suspicious details about his adopted daughter Lou, but that's beside the point. So he returns home with this news, likely looking forward to his pardon, only to find out that his home has been raided and Lou has been killed. Yeah, bit of a bummer there for sure. But a month later, Fragile returns with a new mission to connect Australia to the United Cities as well. With this newfound depression, he sets off on another adventure. And I think I'll stop the story there. I've already gone on for a while, but this is a game that thrives on its storytelling, so I thought getting the story across here was important. Or at least trying to. Trust me, there are tons of plot twists ahead, but those are for you to discover on your own. We have to talk about gameplay. Similarly to the first game, the gameplay loop largely centers around delivering packages in an open world setting. It's all about navigating difficult terrain, balancing your cargo, and reacting to natural disasters as they happen. Luckily, you can unlock and upgrade vehicles, making it much easier to deliver large loads of cargo. One major difference is the greater emphasis on combat in this game. There is combat in the original game, but it seems like the consensus is that Death Stranding 2 has further refined the system and incorporated it much better. It seems like the general sentiment around this game is that it's an overall improvement over the original game, getting a higher score from players and journalists alike. While I can't give my personal opinion on the game, I know people who have played both it and its predecessor and absolutely love it. I could never convince myself to play the first game, but with what I've heard about Death Stranding 2, maybe I should go and give the series a shot. The final nominee this year is a game by the name Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Admittedly, this is a game I knew the least about coming in, but that's not to say I hadn't heard about it. As someone who's been outside of this game's circle, even I've seen people singing its praises. But what is this game? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a first-person action RPG with an emphasis placed on its open world and realism. Intricate storylines allow the world to shift around you as you and your reputation changes based on the actions you perform. Perhaps the greatest strength I've seen is the level of freedom granted to the player. Missions can be solved in a multitude of ways, whether you want to be a silver-tongued conversationalist, an unseen blade in the dark, or a living wrecking ball. There's a solution you'll enjoy. And that's not to mention the multitude of jobs you can take on, helping you to further define your identity in the world. Frankly, it's a little hard to talk about the gameplay because there's just so much for you to do. Apparently the combat is fantastically intricate, but I can't speak for it. Talking about what you're physically capable of doing feels like a fool's errand anyways. Explaining the story feels kinda pointless, because the story is really what you make of it rather than the actual written down plot lines, but I'll give it a shot anyways. You play as Henry, who's on his way to Trotsky Castle to question Otto von Bergrau's, I don't know, his allegiance to your king during a civil war. But as you camp for the night, you and your group are attacked by bandits. You and your friend Capon, again, I don't know how these names are pronounced, manage to escape and make it to the castle, where no one recognizes you and you're denied entry. So, well, might as well get a bite to eat. Unfortunately for you both, you have barely a penny to your name and will need to work to earn your meal. You do, however, learn that Otto will be attending a wedding soon and that you may be able to get into contact with him there. But, of course, nothing can ever be so simple as Capon starts a fight and gets both of you punished. Now, thoroughly humiliated, it's time to get back to the mission at hand. And I think I'll stop right about there. Again, every part of this game feels like it's better experienced than explained. I wish I could speak more on it, because everything about it seems incredible. I haven't even spoken about the intricate forging system. This game has earned its spot on the list, and I'll definitely need to check it out myself. Well, here we are. With every entry discussed, it's time to figure out which of them will be 2025's Game of the Year. Let's start off with Donkey Kong Bonanza and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I have nothing against either of these games, but let's be honest with ourselves, neither one of them are going to win. DK Bonanza is a great game, but it's definitely designed for a younger audience. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, of course, but when you focus so much on destructible environments, it takes away from other parts of the game. Plus, last year's winner was a family-friendly platformer, and I don't see another one taking it home. Then there's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Again, maybe this game is just suffering from the fact that I haven't played it, but it seems like the game with the most mixed reception here. This is the only game I wasn't expecting to be on this list. I thought it was gonna go Split Fiction or that maybe Dispatch would sneak its way in, but honestly, I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 fits in perfectly fine. But it also has the lowest Metacritic score of every nominee, and that's just not gonna cut it. Next, let's talk about Death Stranding 2 On the Beach and Hollow Knight Silksong. I know, it sucks that I'm eliminating the 3 games I didn't play first, but this is just the sentiment I've seen in the gaming community. Death Stranding 2 is a great game, but the core gameplay just doesn't seem that interesting to me. I mean, I know I'm probably oversimplifying it here, but it seems like a walking simulator with a wildly confusing story. And when the story is its strongest aspect, it's just hard to compete with some of our other entries. Then we get to Silksong. Honestly, I'd probably consider this game to be a real contender for Game of the Year, but I'm gonna have to knock it down a bit based on community sentiment. There has been a lot of complaining about the difficulty of this game. I've seen several people admit that they dropped the game because it's just too difficult. While that's not the sentiment that I hold, I can't discount those who have that opinion. It's also been one of the most anticipated games for a long time, and while I believe it to be a significant improvement over the original Hollow Knight, I know some expectations were likely too lofty to overcome. It's for those reasons that I unfortunately have to eliminate it from contention. And here we are, with our final 2 juggernauts, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 and Hades 2. Let me just start by saying that I think most, if not all, of the games nominated this year could have won last year. This is one of the most stacked years I've seen in a long time. If I could give this award to multiple games, I would. But unfortunately, some games are going to get less accolades than they've earned. And as much as I hate to admit it, Hades 2 is going to follow in the footsteps of its predecessor and fall short of another Game of the Year award. I hate that I have to do this. I love Hades 2. Its art style is incredible, its character design is unmatched, and its gameplay is straight up addictive. The only, and I mean only, complaint I have is the ending of the story. So, quick spoiler warning, but I just personally hate time travel in media. It always creates plot holes, no matter how hard you work to close them up, and they're never satisfying to me. I won't go into detail. Maybe it's just a personal gripe, but I just can't get over it. And even still, its competition is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This game came out of nowhere, and it took the gaming industry by storm. Its world and character design are stunningly beautiful. The music is awe-inspiring, and the story is one of the most well-written explorations of the human experience that I've ever seen. It convinced me to rethink my stance on an entire genre because of how good it was. And it's a brand new IP. There were no expectations, which Hades 2, Silksong, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Death Stranding 2 likely all suffered from. Maybe Donkey Kong Bonanza as well, since it's also a very well-known IP with the Donkey Kong characters, but I'm not sure about that one. I do truly believe that Expedition 33 will be talked about decades from now as a true titan of the gaming industry, and I can't wait to see what Sandfall Interactive does next. Congratulations to our next Game of the Year, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. But seriously, if you haven't played this game yet, you really owe it to yourself to give it a shot. Just for the nice visuals, let's throw over the order I think these games will be placed based on voting. I'll even give every game a percentage for how likely I think it is to win. And you know what? I think there's room. Let's throw out my own personal ranking of these games. It may ring a little hollow since I've only played half of them, but oh well. It's my video. I get to do what I want. With that in the background, how about we talk about the state of the industry right now? And Don't worry, I won't be ranting about how terrible things are like I did last year. Yes, game prices are getting higher and companies are still trying to drain your bank accounts, but there's an actual defense we can mount now. 2025 has been the year of the indie game. Look at the Game of the Year list. 3 of them are indie games, and I think they're the 3 best games on the list. I've seen some talk about how the Indie Game of the Year category is more stacked than the actual Game of the Year category, and I can't outright disagree. That list includes Blueprints, which I didn't even have a chance to talk about in this video. But let's not let this stop here. Support indie games. Show the big AAA studios that we'd prefer to have tight, high quality, but short experiences for a reasonable price over the microtransaction-filled live service or $80 plus unfinished slop they've been dishing out over the past few years. They may not listen to our words, but they'll definitely notice their wallets drying up. And I said I'd keep it short, so once again, I'm gonna cut myself off. Here's to hoping that 2026 can be just as good a year for gaming, if not better. Thank you for sticking with me through this video and this year as a whole. If you liked what you saw, leave a like. It really means the world to me at this stage in my content creator journey. And I have a few ideas cooked up for future videos, so if you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. If you think I'm wrong or that I missed something obvious, let me know in the comments down below. I hope to see you all again for another video soon, but until then, take care and happy holidays. Bye.